Hey, what's up guys? Frosty here, back with another Team Online strategy video. This time I'm happy to be with my fellow Team Onliner buddy Greg Dawarsaw. How's it going, Greg?
Hey, doing well. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, Greg's he's been playing what, six max cash games mainly for the last 8 to 10 years. Is that about right?
Well, six max cash games it's maybe last 4 or 5 years. But before I was playing MTTs as well, and I still play them like on Sundays or W Cup or things like that. And I used to play a lot of turbo sit and goes as well, but that was like maybe 5, 6 years ago.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was gonna say you're kind of more like a tournament pro now. We're making all these deep runs. You made another one. Like Greg and I have tried to record this video a couple times, and back then he had made a big run in the EPT and the Sunday Million Special Edition. And then what? Last week he made another pretty deep run. And what was that one again? What was the buy-in for that?
The last one was it's in the same spot like Sunday Million, but this time it was for 700. So even though I finished um, just like I made it to the second day, but I finished 95th or something, but it was still good for like almost 3,500.
Ah, that's amazing, dude. Yeah, I'm jealous. I played one W Cube event so far. I'm probably gonna play like three or four more. It was the 320 like Zoom Turbo, I guess. I ended up like making the money, but then like quickly busted. It kind of sucked, but it was nice to get a bit of a cash at least. But anyways, our focus today is going to be on a couple six max cash games that I've played recently this month. Um, yeah, I'm hoping to basically do what I was doing with Felix before, where we just run through the hands, and Greg and I just kind of casually talk about each street. Both these hands are going to be we're going to be mentioning a lot of stats because they're both pretty like villain dependent. So I'm not going to have the HUD popped up, but I'll make sure to mention all the relevant stats, and Greg can ask me for more stats if he wants them or whatever. Greg, do you use quite an extensive HUD when you play?
Yes, I just opened like a random table on PokerStars to see which stats I'm using, so I can ask you on the different streets like what I'm usually looking for, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and most of them have like 6 or 7 stats. So I think it's like close to 80, something like this.
Wow, dude, that's even more than mine. I thought I had a crazy HUD. I think I got around like 50 to
Oh,
60.
trust me, mine is not crazy. I've seen guys with like 200 stats. So this is
Well, I
like
have I have like, I have like 50 stats on screen or whatever, and then more detailed stuff is in the pop-ups. Um, I mean, I assume if you're having like 200 stats, you must just throw all the positional stuff in on the HUD, which seems a little excessive. But anyways, I don't want to ramble too long about our HUDs, but I just wanted to kind of mention the fact that I think Greg and I, kind of not rely on, but really like to use a lot of stats in our HUD. And I think you're going to kind of see from these two hands how it's going to or it's going to, be important to understand the difference between certain stats, and it's really going to affect the way these hands kind of play out. So with all that said, let's jump into the first hand here. I'm just going to roll the action, and I'll just pause it when I think there's stuff worth talking about. So we're going to start the action here. It's going to fold to me in the cutoff. I'm going to have King Queen suited, obviously a standard open. We get 3-bet by the button, and it folds back to us. Yeah, I'm not gonna like worry too much about the sizings here. I kind of been like going back and forth between sizing. I'm kind of like opening 3x from everywhere but the button now. Just kind of trying that out. It's been working okay. But anyways, we get 3-bet quite small. Now this guy is your very aggressive opponent here. He's playing 27-22, 12% 3-bet overall. This is all over a fairly decent sample. Um, and in this particular spot, button versus cutoff, he 3-bets 27% of the time. Yeah, it's only over 11 hands though, so it's a fairly small sample, but I think it's enough to kind of gauge that this guy likes to 3-bet. Um, so yeah, Greg, I mean, what first of all, I guess like what's your overall like strategy against these like aggressive three betters on the button? Like how do you react to these guys who are three betting like 27% in this spot?
Well, I think this 27 is not his actual number, as you mentioned, because of the small sample, but it gives us some idea. I also have the stat which says how many times he generally free bets on button, so it's not only versus the cutoff, but versus other position too. But of course, this is the most important to look at how he does it on versus cutoff, especially because he probably assumes that people would be open wider on the cutoff, so he may get away with some lighter free bets on the button, and even if called, then he got position and probably will try to take away the pot from us later on. But and king queen suited here, I think it's perfect hand for us just to call, because if we make a four bet, then we probably need to fold to the five bet because we didn't want to stock off 100 blinds with king queen suited. And also we on occasion we're gonna be bluffed, like five bet bluffed by things like, I don't know, like ace six or something, which he decides to go versus our assuming by him light four bet or something like that. But also we lose a lot of value because he'll be free betting here with this frequency. If he's doing this, then he'll be free betting here with, I don't know, king jack, king 10, even things like king 7 suited or other broadways that we dominate. So this is, even though we don't have the position in this hand, I think there is no other way to play this hand pre-flop than to call
Yeah,
completely.
yeah, you pretty much took all the words right out of my mouth. I was pretty much thinking everything you just said there. Um, like you were saying, I mean, even though king queen suited, like we're well ahead of his three betting range, I would assume. The stuff that he's gonna five bet bluff on us is gonna be stuff like low to medium pocket pairs, like you said, like suited aces, like stuff that's actually ahead of us. So if we four bet any five bets, it's quite a bit of a disaster. Like what hands would you like be choosing here to four bet bluff with? Like the same kind of hands, like suited aces maybe, like maybe some offsuit broadways type thing. Like because I think against like a super aggro three better on the button, like yeah, he's probably not three betting at 27%, but if he is three betting like 12 point whatever overall, he's probably pretty aggressive. So like, what kind of hands do you, or like how do you play back at a guy like this if you don't have like a king queen suited type hand, or but you don't have like a premium hand either? Are you just like folding a lot more, or like what are you doing?
And one more thing about our hand and calling here is also that we're in perfect position because this would be if the flop will come with king or queen, this is definitely one of the hands that he'll be trying to represent. So I think this is some added value to this as well.
Yeah,
If
that's a
the
good
flop
point.
if the flop comes something like king 6-3, there is no way he's no c betting this. So with like 100% of the hands he free bets. So this is an added value. And as for the four bets, I actually think that the best way to approach these players is to play pretty straightforward. So I think I would still call here his free bet with things like Jack 10 suited or some higher suited connectors or even Ace X suited as well. I think this hand is a little bit too strong to four bet here, and we just lose a lot of value because if he's free betting above 10% or maybe something closer to 15% from those positions, then he's gonna have some crazy random hands there, and to four bet fold, for example, things like ace five suited, this would be just a waste of value, and I think I would prefer here to call uh, like almost all of the pairs, all the broadways, even offsuit broadways, all of the ace X suited, and as to the four bets, I think it's we need to check what does he do versus four bets. I have this in my pop-up, so I can check like from this position versus this position, what does he do versus four bet. But I don't think it's a really good idea to four bet him here like with something completely random, like 9-7 off. That would be really bad, or even with something like ace 8. There is absolutely no need to do that. We just need to extract some value from aggressive player like this, and
Yeah.
unless he has some, I don't know, really exploitable stats like he's free betting, for example, this 25% and folding 100% to the four bet, and we can do
Right,
some
right.
bluff.
Yeah, I think like you were saying, kind of in general too, like these guys who like to be super aggressive, they don't, you know, they don't like to like they don't like to fold. So I like you were saying, I don't think just going crazy with four bets is necessarily the way to play back at these guys because yeah, they just I think they're going to be mostly the type of players who are just going to start shoving on us light and just calling four bets. So I kind of play the same strategy as you, where I'm calling basically with a lot of playable hands. Like you were saying, Jack 10 suited, 9-10 suited, stuff that, yeah, I mean, like we're behind his random like Ace 7 offsuit, but you know, it's still gonna have enough playability on the flop, and then yeah, maybe I'll four bet a little bit more frequently with like Ace X, maybe like Ace X offsuit. Um, but yeah, in general, I'm just probably just flatting a lot of playable hands and just four betting my value, I guess. Anyways, so I do go ahead and call. I think it's probably pretty standard for most people too. And we get a pretty great flop, Queen 5-2, top pair. Um, Not sure like how much this guy is like really thinking about my like calling range in this spot, but if he is, I think this is a board that is pretty good for my hand. Like I'm gonna have like ace queen here like all day every day. I'm gonna have like king queen suited, maybe like queen jack suited. Like so I can definitely have a lot of queen x. If I called in the hand like nines to jacks or something like that, you probably can't expect me to um, fold on this flop. So I don't know, like if he's a good thinking player, like I don't really expect him to just one and done this flop kind of thing. But I'm not convinced this guy's all that particularly good to begin with. But anyways, we're obviously checking here, right? Like we're never just donking this flop.
Yeah, there is no need to donk, and the flop is really good. And I think there is a big chance I would not fold this flop. I mean, I would not fold this board, even to three ballers, unless some again some stats showing that he is c betting in free bet pot, maybe like 90%, and then doesn't two barrel or three barrel almost never.
Right,
But
right. So I've got this
uh,
guy. Oh, sorry for cutting you off. I just want to say that I've got this guy c betting 100% in three bet pots. Not like a huge sample, but like a few hands, and then he barrels the turn 50, and then he barrels the river 0. I think the turn and river are probably fairly small samples, but yeah, that's kind of the player we're looking at here.
yeah, so if he's rebetting free bet pots 100%, then this is where we get value, and then we can. I see us folding to free barrels on some like really terrible runouts, like two more
Yeah.
hearts, or I don't know, maybe something like uh, ace, and then I don't know, maybe three or four or jack, or and only if you free barrels, of course. So this is exactly what we expect to do when we call with king queen suited versus the player that free bets a lot from, because his range, if this 27 would be like realistic, but let's say it's like 15%, then
Yeah.
I think you can just look up how much, how many different hands is actually 15%. This is a lot of hands.
Hmm.
So at the moment we simply crashing his range on this board. So and of course versus some kind of different, more passive, more tight players, we could play it a little bit different, but versus this guy, I would say let him bet, let him do what we expect him to do by calling pre-flop.
Right. Yeah, totally agree. So yeah, he's gonna go ahead and c bet, and I mean, is there any point in check raising? I mean, yeah, we're gonna make him fold his bluffs. Uh, the board's not really even that wet. I mean, there's one flush draw out there, but I just kind of wanted to mention it quickly. But I totally agree with you. I'm just like never check raising against this type of player. Maybe if it's like a big whale kind of like 60-50 type player, I might just like check raise for value and just never expect them to fold like pocket sevens. But I think against most regs, we're not going to be thrilled about getting the money in here, and I think we're just better off bluff catching. So yeah, that's what I choose to do. Pretty safe
Yeah,
turn.
because one more thing, because
Yeah, go ahead.
why not check raise? Because there is only one, I think, one really bad card for us, which would be ace.
Ace, yeah.
And because definitely he would make a second barrel on ace, because this is what he's representing pre-flop. And I still don't think I think check calling the turn, even if the ace hits, and then maybe fall to all in, because that's probably what's left on the river. But so we don't really have to be afraid of anything, and this would be idea to maybe to check raise sometimes. But I think the games are a little bit different now, and people don't do things like raising for information, because this was a concept for like a few years ago, and now it doesn't make really a lot of sense if you think about it. But maybe this is a discussion for a different topic. But so uh, here, just as you said, just let him keep betting, and if not, if the turn goes check check, then we probably value bet the river, and that's the plan for the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, that's a good point about the games today. Just everybody being a little bit better. Everybody kind of seems a little bit more aware of what people's ranges look like in different spots, I guess. I think if we're check raising the flop with king queen here, we're actually over-representing our hand quite a bit, which is kind of why I said it's not good if we get the money in, because if we check raise, what's our hand going to look like to a somewhat capable hand reader? It's going to look like ace queen probably at the worst for value, and then it's going to look like a lot of flush draws, and I say at the worst because we might have pocket fives and pocket twos. He made it pretty small pre-flop. We might have pocket queens. We might have a slow played pocket kings or pocket aces occasionally. So if we're check raising king queen here and then he shoves, yeah, it's not good. So anyways, I'm totally with the check call on the flop. Pretty safe turn. Gonna check it again. Like I said, this guy, he only barrels the turn 50%. Small sample though, so I'm just still more like taking in the fact, or taking in like the overall picture of this player profile, more than just reading into his small sample size on the turn C bet. So I'm more just kind of thinking this guy is probably still pretty aggressive. Yeah, even though his turn C bet drops quite a bit over a small sample, I don't think he's like just betting value on the turn. So yeah, I really don't think we can check fold this turn. But let's see what he does. So he goes ahead and bets 20.46, kind of setting himself up for a river shove. It looks like. Yeah, I assume you're with me on this point. We just like can't fold here ever.
Yeah, of course there are some hands that I don't know, he definitely have something like ace four in his range,
Yeah,
but I don't really, we don't care about this. I mean, on occasion he's gonna have here like even pocket queens, of course, or like aces or kings, or this ace four, but it doesn't like matter what he has like this exactly hand. It only matters how his numbers looks like. So what we can expect, and if he, well, of course we are still not saying, we definitely check calling river here as well. I can imagine we can do some folds on the river, but for now it still seems that we have the best hand, I would love to see the bigger sample on his side and see what he what that we can have a better idea what he does for the second barrel and third barrel. But what I don't think he at the moment when he also bets turn, I don't think he has like something random like I don't know like 7-8 suited or off. I mean suited would make sense with some of these flash draws that we have now.
Yeah.
But I think there is a chance that he may have something like I don't know ace 10 which now picks the flash draw or I don't know like so many hands he has in his range and that's actually the idea why we still are looking good with our top pair almost top kicker. So
Yeah, if you were in his shoes, what kind of hands would you be expecting to fold out here if you're on a complete bluff? That's why this, it's a very a villain dependent spot because I think against like a tighter, like just better player, like you're not gonna just see a random double barrel as often with even like ace king, even though you picked up the gutter. Like I don't like yeah, like I just like let's go back to my first question. What kind of hand do you think uh, our villain could actually make me fold out here after I check all the flop?
yes, until I say, I mean, first, before I say what kind of hands he think he may fold, I also would say that he, at some point, may just don't care about our hand at the moment, and I think he's betting here like every ace. Every ace he was free betting and betting the flop as a c bet, as a pure bluff. Now, with the gut shot, he's definitely betting. So, and I think he's still betting all of his or most of his hard draw and definitely uh, all of the diamonds draw. And aside of that, if he may put him like on like pure bluff at the moment, he may hope to fold us from hands like Jack 10 of hearts. I don't think we check calling twice with no other options
Yeah, that's true.
than just the flash draw. But I think yeah, and I don't think we check raising this on the flop as well because I don't think it's just to stack off on both like undercard cards and not the flash draw, so no other options. I would I would have no problems with stacking off on this flop versus this kind of player with something like ace three of hearts when we have like the overcard and the nut flash draw and the gut shot. That's fine. But something like
Yeah.
I don't know 7-8 of hearts or Jack 10 of hearts, it's worthy check calling once and then against another bet. I don't think it's worthy calling. It's just not enough odds and no position. So that would be a fold. So this what he may make us fold. Maybe he can. Well, he cannot make us fold. If we call the flop, then I don't think we can fold sixes or fours, but we may fold like 7 through 9s, something like this.
Yeah, 7 through 10s kind of thing. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, to your point about the flush draws, I think the way I play anyways is usually just going to be a check call with pretty much all my flush draws on this flop. Just because like when I check raise, like I don't really have that much value on this flop. Like I don't really rep too much, so I wouldn't really expect a lot of folds by check raising a flush draw. Which, yeah, if I don't think I have a lot of fold equity, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Um, and yeah, I think he could probably make us fold something like 7s through 9s or something like that.
But I
Um,
don't think
but like you were saying, I think
it's automatic fault with 7 to 9 against this kind of player. In check calling
yeah, it's
king
true.
5-2 to fold on the tray on the turn doesn't really make a lot of sense with something like 9s against this kind of player. I think this is actually the same kind of value as king queen, maybe not king queen, but something like king 10 queen 10 at the moment. So maybe more likely 7 or 8s, but this is such a narrow range. So
Hmm.
I think his thinking at this moment is very simple, and he has some more options that maybe he had no options like on the flop, and now he pick up some kind of option and is just barreling. because this is what he does in the game.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think the what we should be like looking to focus on is basically just like exploiting this player type in this hand, where like you were saying, whether it's good or not, I think that this guy is probably just barreling all his ace X. He's probably just he might have some complete air balls. Like I don't think he's ever he could easily be turning like ace five, ace two, ace three into a bluff. I could see him betting all that again. Um, so yeah, I think we're just never going to be folding this turn. Is there any point in just check raising? I mean, we got two flush draws out there. If he does have the ace X, he does have a 0% river triple barrel over two hands. So he might be the kind of player who's just never putting the money in on the river if he misses anyways. But again, that sample size is so small, it's hard to tell. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Do you think there's any merit to just ripping it in on this turn rather than just calling and then just basically check calling all rivers except for maybe an ace or maybe a
But
four?
definitely, it would be better to check raise now than on the flop, simply for for protection. If someone is
Yeah.
afraid of what he's gonna do when the I don't know six of diamonds hits the river, but I would not be afraid of. I mean, there is still not many of. I mean, four like four would, on the river would be four or ace. This is the worst two
Hmm.
worst card that can hit the river, and this is just eight cards, so it's like 16%. And
Yeah.
I think if we called here, if we check raise the turn and we getting called, I think we unless he go really. But what kind of? I think we almost always close to dead, or or not in a really great shape, because I don't think he's going here us with pocket jacks, or I don't know, even worst queen can fall, and
Hmm.
and if he decides to call with something like ace six of hearts or diamonds, it's not really. He doesn't really have really bad odds against that, because he would then have overcard and gut shot and flush draw. So we would have to see the numbers, but I think it's close to okay decision on his part, and versus this kind of hand we're not doing like really perfect. So
Yeah. I
we either
think
would be really behind, or not so much ahead if he calls the check raise on turn.
yeah, I agree. I think for like a combo of reasons, like you said, I think if we're ahead right now, then there's really only maybe eight cards that that make us lose on the river. I think a couple good things could potentially happen from calling here too. Like if a heart comes and we check, he might not be able to help himself and he might just shove trying to rep the flush. Uh, on the flip side, if he's there with like pocket aces and a heart comes in, he might actually check the river back, thinking we have the flush. So like a couple of like good things could
Yeah, and
potentially come that way.
one more
And
thing. Of course, if the if the king hits the river, he also may try to represent the king like something ace king of
yeah,
hearts, or
that's
that, and he may just shove the king to hope to fold us from queen or some other
yeah,
hands. So
that's exactly where I was going to. If we hit if a king comes off, that's pretty much the dream card for us if he is bluffing. Um, or if he has a hand like ace king, he might not shove for
and we
value and we
also
actually
win
have a
with
mean.
something he if he really had something like ace queen or aces, which of course it's
Hmm.
not a like big part of what may happen in this hand, but it's like some kind of a uh, like insurance for us. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, with that said, I do go ahead and make the call, and yeah, like we were kind of alluding to, we get pretty much the Dream River. It would have been better if it was offsuit, not a diamond, but I don't think it changes things too much. Um, any merit for just donking this river? Like, I expect him to now check back a hand like Ace Queen probably. Um, but that's really only like one hand, and we have King Queen, so we kind of block combos of Ace Queen. So I think it's like less likely. I'd probably still expect him to shove aces, and probably expect him to shove Ace King. And I think the main point though is like you were saying, just he's probably going to continue on his bluffs on this card like always. So I think, what do you think? Checking just outweighs like donk shoving? I mean, donk shoving's not something I usually do ever anyways, but what are your quick thoughts on that?
Um, no, I see no need to donk, but and also I think that there is some part of his range which would be like king ten, not king ten, but king x
Hmm.
with the well, it couldn't be king x of diamonds, but it definitely can be king x of hearts, something like I don't know, king 10, king jack, king 9, or actually if he's betting 27 or a little bit less, then all the suited kings are there, and even offsuit, not exactly in the hearts of diamonds, but something like king 4 of clubs, which would make sense, like a total bluff on the flop, and then picks up the open ender, and now he hits king on the river. So that would make sense, and I think he would try to value bet this, hoping to get called from any queen. So this is okay. Of course, there's a backdoor flush draw which hits now, which uh, is also in his range, so we may lose to it, but there is no need to donking because we want him to. Well, he's gonna fold off all his bluffs, and donking on king would be just taking away this play from him.
Yeah.
So, and this is the card. This
Yeah,
is the
I
card
agree.
that he. Well, I think very there is a very high frequency that he's gonna like try the last bluff if he still have nothing.
Yeah, I agree. I check, and unfortunately, he checks back. Let's see what he had. Ace nine offsuit. So
Uh,
yeah, I mean, pretty much what we were thinking on basically the turn, where he could probably be double barreling all his aces. I'm surprised he doesn't follow through on the river a little bit, but I mean that could just be the type of player he is, where maybe the stats are fairly accurate for this guy, where he's gonna barrel some turns if he picks up equity and then just shut down in the river.
and
He can put me on king queen sometimes for sure, and just think it's a futile shove kind of thing. But I don't know if I was in his spot, especially with the ace of diamonds there. I think it's pretty much a mandatory bluff in his shoes. But
yeah, this is what I was
um,
about to
you know,
ask because I didn't see his hand before. I just have the like the not the graphic, but the yeah,
oh, you don't
yeah,
have the
no results,
results.
but it's fine. That's actually even better.
Okay,
But that's why I wanted to ask if he had any hearts of or diamonds. But when you're saying the ace,
yeah, he's got ace of diamonds, nine of spades. So he had the ace of diamonds, and yeah, he chose not to shove. So he must have just been putting me on a pretty strong range at that point, or just kind of clicky buttons and deciding, sometimes in game, you just don't have the balls to go for the bluff,
yeah,
and it
but
can
I
be as
think
simple
he
as that.
don't even have to really like even if he's afraid of bluff showing on the river, but I think more some of the more aggressive players would do it like he always. Then maybe he could try like a smaller bet too, to make it even look more like he wants to extract some value. And yeah, I think well this
Yeah, he's got 60 in the pot to 80, though. I don't think you're going to see many people do anything less than a shove on
I
the
would do
river.
that
I mean,
occasionally, but you
just like a small,
I
small
would do
value
like
bet.
35 from time to time, but then of course, if someone wants to do it, then must remember about doing the same with the well hands he has now, or also like the yeah
Yeah,
the
you got to
nuts
balance
or like
it.
some stronger hands, but not the nuts as well. Some kind of like two pair or a straight here or something like that as well. But I used to do that more. Now I think I would probably just show the river, but I can see some people doing that as well.
Hmm. All right, well, yeah, we're running a little bit longer than I expected, so why don't we move on to the next hand? That was great, though. I think we pretty much covered everything there is to cover about for that. Um, this next hand is. Oops, there's my HUD. This next hand is it's kind of like one of these like classic like gross spots. Maybe like I think I take like a line that's probably more like indicative of full ring play rather than six max, where uh, you'll see I choose to call a three bet pre-flop instead of four betting. But um, anyways, we'll just get into it. I think it's fine. Yeah, we're gonna open pocket queens here from MP. Gonna get three bet by the button, and then we have a decision. Like this is like a super opponent dependent spot, I think. Like obviously you need to consider a lot of stats, so let's just quickly go over this guy. He's playing like 33-23, which seems super high. It's kind of weird. I think this guy's kind of like a rag fish. I'm not like 100% sure. Like definitely not just like a fish, but I don't see him on like a ton of tables. But yeah, so he's playing like 33-23, but then he's only got a 4% three bet. And I think it's over like a reasonable sample. And then button versus MP is only 6%. So he's playing all these hands, but then he's not three betting very much, which like had me kind of concerned, especially given these positions that I didn't really feel comfortable stacking off pre here, but I just kind of felt like too nitty folding. Like yeah, obviously like kings plus here, I'm just gonna four bet get it in. Uh, jacks and tens. I'm probably always just calling. I don't know. I think queens is kind of on the borderline. Like, do you just four bet this or do you just call this? What do you think you would do against this guy, or what do you think would be like
But
standard?
definitely the stats don't make a lot of sense, like 33-23 and then just 4% of free bet.
Yeah, it
That's a little
seems.
bit strange. I would, but 6% versus on these positions makes more sense. And I would also check what is his general take on the button, like the same which I said last hand. So this is just how
Right.
many times he free bets on button, because some of the players have like free bets like 5, 5, 6, and suddenly like 17 on the button. So this would be indicative as well. But I just assuming he's 33-23, I would four bet this and go ahead and stack off. But yeah, I think simply because if he free bets us here 6%, of course with queens we're still crashing 6% range anyway, and so
Yeah, it's true.
if he has something like maybe ace queen or ace king, he would. Well, I think with ace queen, I think he would stack off, or maybe not. I don't know. Depends how he plays those kind of hands. But then he may shut up a little bit on the flop when he doesn't hit ace or his king. So I think it would be better to go all in and hope to. I mean, because if we're flatting here with queens and the boards go like low and dry, then I don't think we're folding anyway. So we lose to aces or kings anyway, no matter what happens. Maybe we can save like one bet, but not too much. So of course I don't know how he plays post flop, but he may decide to be play a little bit safer when he doesn't hit his hand. I don't know, and we are out of the position, so we cannot really extract a lot of value. So yeah, I think would be in general we would be making money stacking off here. And if the other thing
Yeah.
is if he doesn't free bet a lot here, that means he don't have a lot of bluffs here. So we like in the last example, we are hoping that he may bluff at us, and then that's where we get the value, and that's what we did. And here, there is not much value in bluff catching, because he doesn't have much bluffs here. So
Yeah, I agree. There's a couple other stats I could like look at to try to influence my decision too, I guess. Like how often he's folding to four bets, how often he's five betting. Like I could definitely look at those stats and try to consider everything, but I think yeah, based on what I have written down here, I kind of agree. It's just like an awkward hand to play by calling, and like you said, like I don't think we're we're probably just getting stacked on low boards anyways. And yeah, if somebody's playing 33-23, they're probably calling a lot of four bets, even though I haven't like written down that specific stat. I kind of agree with everything you said there, and yeah, if I could go back and redo it, I think I would just four bet. But given that I called, let's just see how this plays out. So yeah, pretty much a dream flop. I mean, we're not going anywhere on Jack 5-2. Some stats to look at now. He's only got a 17% C bet in three bet pots. Not sure the sample size was huge on that, but I think it was like 5 or 6 hands. So that's only like 1 out of 5 or 6. So he's not C betting very often, which kind of makes me think he's just not bluffing that much. He's probably just betting his value. Um, and yeah, I think I'm never gonna be like donking this flop, so I'm just gonna go ahead and check. And he checks back, so we're liking our hand at this point, right? I mean, when he checks back, he's probably got something like ace king, ace queen that he's just not gonna fire because this board definitely hits our range pretty hard.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I would prefer to four bet pre-flop, because if he actually have something like ace queen or ace king, he may try to control the pot at the moment, and otherwise we would get all of his chips anyway. I mean, at least we would be going all in
Yeah.
with a lot with the better hand simply. So, but yeah, as it plays as it is played at the moment, no, don't betting again. Maybe some players would still see bet here with ace king, or would feel like really good with something like ace jack as well, or maybe I don't know, continue with nines or tens and things like that. So, and this, yeah, no reason to do that, and let's see what happens on the turn.
Yeah, I didn't look at his c-bet stat before. Pre-flop, I didn't look at his c-bet stat, but I'm playing a bunch of tables. There's a lot to consider. But I think if I had checked the c-bet spot, that's definitely like you were saying, just another reason to four bet a pre. Since we're not even gonna get a c-bet out of this guy very often with his bluffs. Comes a six, and now would you consider donking or would you check again?
Um, well, the question is what he's gonna do with something like ace king here. If we bet, then if he's gonna call us, I think he should call at least one bet. I mean, I would do that in his spot. I would not be happy, of course, but it's too early, I think, to give up. Think like ace king, ace queen, and maybe he would have something like ace queen of clubs. Then, of course, he should be calling. And I don't see him also folding yet the middle pocket pairs, and definitely not folding ace jack. So, yeah, I think it's time to get at least some value, or hope that he is getting sticky with his hand, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think there's kind of like three good reasons to donk this. Like the first is like it's just like what I'm gonna be doing with pretty much my entire range. I think like if I called pre here with like 9-10 of hearts, like and it goes check check, I'm probably just gonna bluff at this turn a lot, because I'm probably gonna bluff like all my value too. The second thing is that this guy, if he didn't see bet the flop with like ace king, like he's like never gonna be c betting the turn. So yeah, I think we're just giving him free cards almost every time. And I mean, I can't remember what the third thing I was going to say was, but I think those are like, two good points to see bet.
But when you said that,
And
okay, I think there is I see some reasons now to not bet, because 9-10 of hearts, I'm not betting here. I don't like really to bet especially out of position, something which has like zero equity. Of course, there is a solid chance that he's gonna fold his like ace king, ace queen here, but not all of the players do that. So, and I really hate the situation when we are on the river in like some kind of a medium pot with like 10 high, and so I would bet something like 7-8, like of clubs, that of course, but also like 7-8 of different suits I would call before. So, and I would bet all, but I would not bet my medium pairs. So I think I would bet here things like every jack that I'm calling pre-flop, and some draws. So it depends. Now I think, well, of course, betting here is, I think, the primary option. But I think in some spots I would consider checking as well. So that would give us the bigger chance that he's gonna call us wider on the river. Yeah.
On the river, yeah. Well, okay. The third thing I was gonna say is just like betting for protection. Like, I think I usually would bet my medium pairs against this guy here on the turn, just because I wouldn't like I said, I don't think I'd expect him to ever bet with like ace king ace queen, and yeah, I mean, I think like you said, there might be some benefit to checking just because at that point we might get some value on the river,
Well, the thing,
but I don't know.
yeah,
I don't love giving him a
yeah.
free
But
card
the
here.
thing about checking here is because it's simply for balancing reasons. Because we have queens here like very rarely. Many players would suspect us here to forward with queens. So if this is like top of our range here at the moment, so I think we would need to keep playing this as most of our hands here, so which would be weaker, and because queens are so strong here, then we uh, well, most of their hands we would be
Yeah.
checking here anyway, which would be calling pre-flop, like, I don't know, medium.
Okay, I think our argument is basically just coming from. It sounds like we just generally have different game plans in this spot. Like it sounds like you just you do a lot of checking on these turns, and then yeah, either bluff catch rivers or bet for value in the rivers. Where I think I just more often just bet turns. So I think it totally depends on what your usual game plan is in this spot, and then you should balance accordingly. So yeah, if you're like getting to the river with a lot of medium to weak hands or whatever, then yeah, you probably want to keep queens in there. I'm not saying what's right or wrong or like whatever, but I think I normally just bet more turns in general. So I'm probably just going to be betting for value, and I'm going to be betting my bluffs here too. But yeah, I think both definitely have
My bets,
merits.
my bets here would
Um,
mostly be of really strong hands and drawing hands, and some medium hands. I would
yeah,
probably check to the river, and I see something like checking the river and checking the turn here now, and maybe not, for example, over betting the river after some kind of a like safeguard. So yeah. So
yeah,
it
that could
would
be cool.
may look as a bluff for him, and sometimes he would call us here like with something like, I don't know, maybe eights or even ace king.
Yeah, that could definitely work. Um, well, I went ahead and donked just for all the reasons that I kind of just said. I don't think I have to make it very big here. Like I think we kind of agree on what his range is at this point. Like it's probably like ace king ace queen. Maybe I don't know if like a 4% three bet is gonna have like sevens through tens in it, but if it does, I think he's checking those back. I think it'd be reasonable for him to check back some jack X as well. So it's kind of what I'm targeting, I guess. And he calls me, which I'm pretty happy about. Like I'm pretty confident in my hand at this point. Um, and then the river comes a nine. So I mean, as played, given that we did donk the turn, this has to be a pretty clear value bet, I'd imagine.
Yeah, the only there's only 7-8. Well, not only because the pocket nines hits as well. So 7-8 gets there,
Yeah.
and pocket nines get there, but I don't think this should be a lot of his range, given that he don't three bets a lot. So nines maybe, but 7-8 I don't really see him free betting. Maybe 7-8 suited, but I don't really know this player. But what I do usually at this moment, I just look at his two basic stats, which is river bet and went to showdown, and this is a funny combination of the stats, because if his river bet is really high and his went to showdown is low, that means I'm always checking here and waiting for him to bet, because it seems like he's left bluffing a river a lot, and because he doesn't like to check back. So there will be a huge chance that he's gonna bluff the river, even like with, yeah, bluff the river. And if the proportions are different, so he has a lot of went to showdown and not really high river bet, then I'm definitely betting here. And if
Mm.
it's somewhere in the middle, like it doesn't seem like he's doing one of those things too often, then I would bet as well.
That's cool. That's I find that really interesting because I don't really look at those two stats very often. Um, I know a lot of players have those in their HUDs. Maybe I should. I don't know because I don't have them in my HUD right now. I'm not too familiar with all the numbers. Like this guy has a win to showdown of 26, which what is that standard or a little bit on the low side? 26 win to
I think
showdown.
it's like in the middle, but maybe a little bit more than in the middle.
Hmm. And then he's got a river bet of 36, which seems obviously pretty high, I
Yeah,
think.
it's pretty high, but
But
I think my river bet now is higher. But it's higher because I usually bet a lot of rivers when there was no like there was like check 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 check. Then I like to bet a river a lot, uh, and so
yeah.
that's why my frequency is a little bit higher. And some people may think that I would bluff the river, and I would, but what they don't know is I usually do it in the smaller pots, so my frequency
Hmm.
goes down in the bigger pot, so there is a smaller chance that I'm bluffing in the bigger pot. So this, yeah,
Right. So we gotta consider that, and then I think what there's like probably two more things we gotta consider. Like one is like sample size. Like I don't know how rel or accurate those numbers are, but two, like don't you really have to consider like the line? Like like if we called this three bet pre-flop and then he goes like bet bet, like wouldn't those numbers be more applicable to the spot now? Not a spot where like I call and then it goes check check and then I bet the turn. Like I just feel like it's not really a great bluff spot for him anymore. Like regardless of the stats as much, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
But if you this is what you said before, that you would take a stab here on the turn with something even like with no equity, like 10 9 of hearts. So this would and also if you're betting any flash draws that you now missed. So uh, I know
Yeah.
I can see some situations when you just flat out of position pre-flop, and then after check check on the flop you're trying to steal the pot on the turn, and then you give up on the river, and he may turn some of his hands into bluff.
But that's the thing, like what can he
Yeah,
have
that's the
that
other problem,
doesn't
because
just win at
he
showdown?
doesn't. I think he can easily check ace king there and hope in it from time to time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and expect to
against
win.
some like ace high flush draws, something like this. So and also the thing is that he doesn't really have a lot of bluffs in his hands, because he doesn't three bet a lot. And if he doesn't three bet a lot, then Jack high. Well, I guess he could have some missed Broadway, something like this, but this is not a big part of his range. So I think, yeah, there is a lower frequency of bluffs that we could expect from different player. But 36, better even 36%, it's still a lot, and this would make me. And also, he may have some missed flush draws as well. Maybe something like ace king, ace queen of clubs, and I don't know, king queen of clubs if he decides to free bet that. But so because of this is actually exactly the spot what I always look at the bet river and when to showdown, when there was a draw on the turn and there was some action on the turn, and then on the river comes pretty much a blank, and so no draws completes, and then I like to give the some players chance to bluff if the draws were missed. But yeah.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I think there are some hands now that I think about it that he could call turn with and bluff with, like mainly king queen of clubs, maybe some other club hands that don't have any showdown. Um, so yeah, I guess check call it definitely has some merit. Um, I think betting here for value is
The
fine
other
too
question
though.
is what kind of hand he may have to call to bet of value from you. Ace Jack, I
Yeah.
think, would make sense.
Yeah, kind of targeting a hero call from Ace Queen or Jack X or maybe pocket tens. I think tens definitely be in his range. And like as far as what my range is gonna look like on this river, I think it's gonna be like yeah, some Jack X. Like it could be as strong as Jack's full, uh, pocket queens, pocket kings, slow plays, and then like as for bluffs, like I'm probably betting this turn with like ace queen of clubs sometimes, and like some club draws myself. So I could show up with some bluffs, but yeah, I think it's like reasonably balanced. But I probably have more value than bluffs here
Yeah, so I think
if I bet.
the most important thing is to like uh, take to think like in the vacuum. If the better play here is like to expect him to call two bets from us, or
Right.
is it better to give him a chance to bluff? But I don't really know a lot of I don't really know many frequencies of this player, and he is kind of a different player that we usually play against. So
Hmm. Yeah, totally. That's kind of why it's unusual. Anyways, I did go ahead and decide to bet. I don't think I have to go very big here because, like I said, the hands I'm trying to get called by are not super strong. So probably bet around half pot or something. Yeah, but bit over half pot. Um, and then he shoves on me, which is like completely unexpected. Um, the one stat I did check here was just the percentage of the time that he raises flop C bets. I know it doesn't like apply to this exact spot on the river, but I thought that would give me some kind of an idea of like how often this guy is like raising raising bets, I guess. And it was 0% of the time. Probably not a big sample though, but it's a pretty gross spot here. I mean, I don't know if our hand is necessarily under rep though. Like we can have all sets, we can have what we have. Like I don't know. In my mind, this is just like never a bluff. But
yeah,
what do you think?
this is really ugly, and yeah, I'm not calling this. I'm not calling this river. This yeah, it's exactly because you said that we have all all our nuts. We playing exactly the same way. So so
Hmm.
he must assume that we have our strongest hands his as well, it's like on pocket deuces, jacks, fives, even sixes, because we get to the turn for free, and
Yeah, we can have seven eight
yeah,
suited too,
and
probably
nines I guess as
on
well
occasion.
we may have, although I would check nines on the turn, but I guess you would bet nines here like for protection because before from
Yeah,
all
sometimes for
the
sure.
like random broadways. So yeah, sometimes we have nines here as well, and 7 8 make a lot of sense. So yeah, it seems like he's
Seems like Jack's full, doesn't it? Mostly.
or nines.
Like what?
Jack. I
Maybe
mean,
like
there is no
or
full,
nines.
but a set, right? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
And
set of
nines would make
jacks.
us make sense too. And I don't think he would be playing like this with aces or kings. There is no reason for that.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think he's usually c betting ace or kings, so I could totally see him checking back jacks on this flop, though. I think that probably makes the most sense. And yeah, he could definitely
Yeah,
have
but
nines too
he's
if he
taking
chooses to
taking
three bet nine.
unnecessary risk on the turn. I think. Then we just calling with, yeah. But maybe some of the players are really afraid that you're gonna fold, so they even on the scary boards they just calls with like stronger hands, and that makes
Yeah,
someone chance to catch, and they usually cannot really fold the river then. So this puts them in difficult spots, but they don't really care. And here, well, yeah, I would not be really surprised. Jacks would be played like this by him, because and the one more reason is like such a dry flop for him, so he would expect like so many hands he would be folding on the versus the c-bet, and also I don't really
yeah,
think I mean he would definitely bet if he knew you have queens, but I don't think he ever puts you on queens here. So, uh, but yeah, I don't know. I think this is a clear fault here, and just I would take a note about this player that he plays a little bit unconventional, and
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I agree. I just it's the first time, like I just don't think we can will come up here. You know, if it happens again, like we might have to just call him down. But he'd have to be like turning some kind of jack X into a bluff, or just shoving with ace king for some bizarre reason. Like I just like think in practice this is just going to be value.
Yeah, like
He's going to be a
something
bluff,
like
so I go ahead and
ace
toss it.
queen of clubs or ace king of clubs would be, if I would call him and expect him not to have us beat, that would be like in this like maybe few percent hands that I would expect him to show. But this is like I don't think many
Yeah,
players do that anymore, except for really crazy players. So yeah, that would be a little bit surprising, but yeah, I think that's one of the options. But I don't think we can expect a profitable call here on the river.
yeah. I mean, if we are trying to think of some kind of hands he could possibly have, I guess those make sense. Maybe he's like, okay, well, I have the ace blocker. Like, I'm gonna try to rep a weirdly play aces or something. But I think we're just grasping at straws at this point. But yeah, I'm glad we both agree on the fold because yeah, might seem a little bit nitty on the surface, but I think when you think about it, it's pretty easy fold. Like I didn't take too much time to fold there, even though it's not a happy spot. Anyways, that's all we got for today. Thanks a lot for
Yeah.
joining us, Greg. Um, I got Greg's Facebook and Twitter links up there on the right. If you aren't already following him, go check it out. Um, yeah, so that's it. Thanks for joining us, Greg. I'm glad we got this worked out. Hopefully everything comes out nicely after it
Yeah,
gets
my
produced.
pleasure, and I really like it. So, and I definitely would love to make it again at some point if you want.
Sweet. Yeah, no, absolutely. I had a great time. I think hopefully people will like it. Just yeah, leave comments, feedback on the YouTube link or on Facebook or Twitter. I'd be happy to hear your guys' thoughts. All right, guys. Take it easy. Good luck at the tables. See
See
you
ya.
later, Greg.